I just want to answer Colin real quick. Colin said it was interesting how guys in the bubble went off versus how in college it was the opposite. And what I would say is this: I feel like for the first maybe like month of the season when it was kind of new and it was kind of exciting, um, it felt like it was more like it felt like the basketball was a little bit better, right? And but the difference is in the bubble. The reason why the bubble was so good at the start was because one, you had the best players in the world just like itching to play and itching to get back out there. But two, like if you talk to the guys that were actually there, and like I don't know if you talked to like any guys that are still in the NBA or that were in the bubble, but what it turned into was something of like, okay, one, it took the pressure off of their presence in public, right? Like when you're an NBA player and you go out, everybody knows who you are. Like there's no hiding. You're taller than everybody else, right? You're recognizable because it's the one sport here where you don't have anything on your head. So when you're watching you on TV, like you're going to look exactly the same as you look when I see you at a restaurant or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like football players have helmets on. Baseball players have like eye black and helmets and hats and everything, right? A hockey player is like, well, who cares about hockey? That's not a real sport.
Shut up. Shut up. You don't want to run into those guys.
Yeah, you don't want to. You don't want to. But so for the basketball players, especially with the popularity that the NBA has gained with like the younger generation, is that when they go out, like they're mobbed. Especially the superstars, they're mobbed. They're celebrities. Like LeBron James can't go anywhere without like calling ahead and setting up like a security detail, right? And it's like that for a lot of these guys. So when they got there and it was a bubble and there was nothing else to do, like they could go out and do whatever the fuck they wanted and they didn't have to deal with people. So it almost became like a summer camp. Like it became for the people that were there, it was like they could just go hang out and be regular guys. You know what I'm saying? Like because when
I'm picturing like a kid's summer camp while you
but you know what I'm saying? So it's like when they got there, it was almost like a weight off of their shoulders. Not only were they able to compete, not only were they able to get out and like try to get into some symbol, like some kind of normalcy, but it also allowed them to kind of be regular people in their environment. You know what I'm saying? Because they weren't celebrities. Like everybody there's an NBA player, right?
Yeah.
Even the last guy on an NBA bench is not necessarily going to be like in awe when he sees Paul George walk by. He's going to be like, yeah, that's the dude that I got to guard that motherfucker next week, right? But by the end, what happened was the teams that lasted were the teams that were there to just compete. And the reason why you saw some of the better teams kind of fade out, and maybe like the Clippers didn't perform as well as they did, because the weight, the mental weight that it took to be away from your family for that long, and in isolation for that long, and in the bubble for that long, like that's a lot to handle for anybody. And I think didn't Paul George come out afterwards and basically say like, look, I was borderline depressed. I don't know if he used those words, but he was like, that shit weighed on me.
He used it during the like after a win. I think they won a game, and he was saying like he was having a mental stuff bothering him and all that stuff. But
yeah, so the difference is in college, right? Like you don't get that kind of camaraderie, because when you're in the bubble, like you could go out and you could hang out with who you wanted as long as you tested negative. When you're in college, like you go, you play, and you come back to your dorm room. So like the college kids are basically living the lives that we're living right now, but instead of working from home, they have to go to the gym and play and come back and do it all for free, because the only reason we're doing all of this is to make sure the NCAA gets that $900 paycheck at the end of the season. That's very different than sending them to a bubble where you're kind of able to get that weight of the public pressure that you have off of your back, and to just go compete and play ball. So it's too, to me, it's too. I get, Colin, I get what you're saying, but it's two very different situations that these kids are in. Does that make sense?
No, trust me, I get it. I feel like it was just more of a scenario. Like I would definitely lean to what you were saying, but it was just basketball. Like at the end of the day, bro, just like you said, it gets rid of all the other unnecessary stuff, and the guys went out there and did what they knew how to do, which is play ball, and it was a little AAU vibe to it. But they just got a chance to just go out there and hoop without all the extras, man. And you saw who wanted to be there when it was championship time.
Yeah, and that's kind of how you knew who wanted to hoop, but it's also
Exactly.
and look, I look for the LeBron fans out there. I'm not saying that you need to put an asterisk on this title because like
Why?
be
They played. They
yeah,
played.
I'm not saying that you need to put an asterisk on this title, but it was very clear that the people that were wired to go out and play ball and do nothing other than play ball and could handle the mental pressure that comes with what they were being put in, those were the teams that made it as far. Like everybody on that Miami Heat team is tough as shit and wired a certain way. Like that's how they built their roster. They wanted a bunch of dudes that could deal with Jimmy Butler. And you know how fucking hard-headed you have to be able to deal with Jimmy Butler? Like, you got to be wired a certain way. So it was not surprising to me that was the team that made it. And then on the other side, you got LeBron. Like, LeBron. Look, I say this in the nicest way possible, but, like, there's something wrong with that dude to be as singularly wired to pursue one thing as he is, right? There's a certain level. The thing about difference. There's a lot of guys that have the physical gifts that LeBron did growing up, right? There's a lot of guys that have kind of some of those same, like someone like maybe a Bernardo Sidney. Like there's players that are as big as him and that are as athletic as him, right?
Bernardo
Sidney. The physical tools that LeBron has are not that unique, right? There's other people that are built the way that he is built with the same kind of God-given gifts, but it's the mindset. It's the I'm never going to lose. I'm never going to stop working. The same thing with Kawhi. Like Kawhi is just wired different. That dude will spend like 6 hours in the gym doing nothing but ball handling drills, doing nothing but making sure, okay, I got to be able to get this step back off of this crossover so I can get this shot because one time when I did it, the shot got blocked. Kobe Bryant, like I'm sure you've heard plenty of stories about like just the crazy workouts that Kobe Bryant used to do.
Yeah, man. Just the work ethic is different, man. The work ethic is different, man. And some of these guys I can't say they're built for it, but when they build up that type of work ethic, and you see like after you put in all that kind of work, what happens? Like you can literally almost do anything on the court. I mean, those guys keep going, and then there's other guys that are excited from everything else, like the walkthrough with the clothes and everything. Like they enjoy those things. Like those other guys enjoy they enjoy like just kicking somebody's ass and winning championships and winning games and competing. Like that's the stuff that they enjoy. So